AITA for not financially helping family and friends, despite being able to? My son Nick was born with a congenital heart defect 17 years ago. It required a $60,000 surgery in Israel if he was to survive past 12 months. I've spent the first 3 months of his life running around, begging people and searching for money. My parents gave us $100, they had well-paying jobs and guaranteed state pensions. When I asked my brother for help, he mumbled something about needing to save for his daughter's college. She never went, by the way. Anyone who met her could have told him that much. They did take regular vacations overseas though. My department of 40 at work donated $30 and a card. At one point I was seriously searching for ways to sell my kidney and liver. My in-laws sold their apartment for $35,000. Best friend gave me another $7,000, which was all he had. Accepting his help was one of the few times I cried in my adult life. I sold my car and every piece of furniture and electronics that wasn't bolted to the walls. My in-laws moved in, and we've spent the next 5 years living together, 5 people, crammed into a 2-bedroom. Surgery was a success. As fate has it, I started a hustle and it took off. After years of hard work, I moved our HQ to a Central European country to be closer to our EU clients. Even discounting for about 2/3 of my wealth that is tied up in the business, I am a multimillionaire. My in-laws now have a 4-bedroom house. We pay for them to go on vacations 3 to 4 times a year, or did before 2020. My son is a hard worker who makes me a very proud father. I can't say that I hate those who didn't help back at the day. Hate is a strong word. Rather, I feel like I've learnt my lesson and don't expect anything from them. I don't invite my parents for visits. They are welcome to pay for their flights and a hotel room, but I won't cover their expenses like I do with the in-laws. My brother asked for a loan to start his business 5 years ago. I said the time wasn't right. 2 months ago his daughter got into a car accident, drunk driving. Nothing seemingly life-threatening, but a lot of nasty scarring on her legs that require a costly cosmetic surgery. I suggested he looks into downsizing as I am focused on helping my kids get good education. Old coworkers who wanted to join my business once it took off were told to apply through the regular process. Except for my best friend. He's been my partner from the start and I sleep better at night knowing we've got each other's backs. It comes without saying there have been lots of very unhappy people in my life. In our culture you're expected to support your community and family, do favors. Nepotism is very much an ingrained thing. You're supposed to bring over your family if you're lucky enough to root yourself in the Western world, help friends emigrate. My parents told me to my face they are ashamed of me and how the Western culture has changed me. I've been called many things, way worse than a-hole and heartless. After hearing my story, tell me Reddit, am I though? Edit. To those wondering why my parents had a pretty lukewarm response, if you can even call it that, the surgery had a 40% success rate. They thought we should let nature run its course and instead try for a new baby. It may sound horrendous to Westerners, but it's not that cold of a statement to someone in our home country, but obviously wife and I didn't take it well.
Relevant comment. Highway Girl 2004. NTA, but know that by not helping them when you're able, you are doing exactly what they did all those years ago. Will you be happy being that person? Will it make you feel better knowing your niece will suffer in order to teach your brother a lesson? I get not paying for vacations, having former co-workers apply through regular channels, but I hope you reconsider helping with your niece's surgery.
OP. Putting aside the question of my niece, which I'll answer in the next paragraph, I am fine with being that person. I think the family dynamic has been established 17 years ago by them. I will not deny for a minute that I am bitter even after all these years, so while I don't actively think of the situation or try to hurt them, I have a ready answer when I hear a request for financial support from them. For my niece, I see it differently than you, to be honest. She is 27, so okay, perhaps not old enough to earn enough to pay for medical expenses but smart enough to know not to drink and drive. And, her parents live in a 3-bedroom by themselves. Why not sell and move further away from the city center to help their child? I see it as this is their child and their responsibility. If they don't fix it, it's because they don't want to, not because I didn't help. Edit. I will talk to my wife about helping our niece. I stand by what I said, it's on her for putting herself in this position and her parents to help her fix it. So I won't cover the whole cost. But I will ask my wife if we should cover half. The more I think about it, the more I'm leaning towards this being the right answer.
Narukuzua. NTA. They're not obligated to help you and you're not obligated to help them. Don't help them. But your parents' comment about let nature run its course and instead try for a new baby, like, what the fuck do they smoke? Who tells that to anyone? They essentially told you to let your son die and provide them with another grandchild. Should have gone no contact then and there. Nobody needs such people in their lives.
OP. It's very hard to explain this, but it's truly not as horrific as it sounds for people raised and living in that culture. I don't know how to get it across in a just manner. The only very weird analogy that comes to mind is how bone marrow jello is a delicacy in some countries that is served during holidays. And in other cultures people would have a complete WTF moment if they are told this is food. Update. So, it's been a couple months. I've learnt my lesson not to ask 17-year-old kids on Reddit questions about real life and made some decisions, haha. First, a lot of you did make valid suggestions that I took to heart. I spoke to my parents candidly about why I distanced myself from them. They were clearly ashamed, and I think it's that shame and pride that kept them from reaching out and apologizing years ago. My mom kept her face covered with her hands for most of the call. She was clearly sad. Anyway, I ended up telling them I would never want to see them to go destitute, so if they are in poor health or need help with the basic necessities, I'm obviously a call away. Otherwise things have stayed the same. Next, about my niece. Here's where I disagree hard with most Redditors. She's a 20-something girl who made a tremendously stupid mistake. She took down a pole driving drunk and will pay for that with her physical appearance and health for the rest of her life. It could have been worse, thankfully that's all it was. I talked to her, and as a first step we paid for her initial scar treatment, some silicone dressing/steroid injections to improve the healing. They can't do the removal surgery until they heal properly and things settle down, so could be another 6 months to a year before they reassess. She asked if I can also help her find a rehab. She wants to pay for it herself. She admitted to having a problem, and I won't go into why she started drinking, but I hope none of the haters have the same reason to turn to a bottle. I also talked to my brother that he's got a year to come up with half the cost of her surgery. If he doesn't come through, we'll have a conversation, but I think the fire is lit under his ass, and I'm covering half for sure. I'll remind people we aren't prosecutors and judges, so when it comes to moral judgments we should do what we believe is right. I stand by my choices to keep my family at an arm's length but not let them fall into poverty if it comes to it, and I support my niece as her attempt to better herself. Thanks to everyone who commented and offered advice. You/HighwayGirl2004 will give you a separate shout out. Lastly, please don't send me requests for money. I've read every sob story under the sun after my last post. I'm not an idiot, wasn't born yesterday, and know that any 12 years old with a keyboard can write a mean tearjerker. I offer tremendous monetary support and my time to local organizations that I can actually see providing support to those in need, so I sleep well at night. Don't bother cursing me out for being heartless. If you're in real need, seek assistance from your local organizations. Best of luck everyone, and take care.
Relevant comments. Many mangoes. Good luck to you and your family. I get where you're coming from and don't blame you for keeping your distance with your family. I'm a transplant also, so I get the pressure that comes with that, but you also have a family of your own to think about. Commenter 2. Although I didn't see the first post until you posted this with the update, I agree with you on this one. You have made a life-changing event and you can tell who your friends are and not. TBH, when people hit something in drunk driving, only two things happen. Either they see what they did and turn for help, or they deny it by burying themselves in booze. I fully support you trying to get a start with your parents. NTA.